Right now on Hoosier News Source, event postponed. The university shuts down a planned anti-Muslim speaker over security concerns. We have campus reactions.
A Bloomington pharmaceutical company is set to let go of a large number of employees. We'll tell you what's behind the most recent round of layoffs.
And if you're thinking of committing a crime in Bloomington, you may soon have another reason not to. We'll tell you why. Hoosier News Source starts now. Hello and thanks for being with us. I'm Carson Johnson.
And I'm Kamellia Tredway.
While we are taping this show, a protest is underway in Dunn Meadow, just outside. The pro-Palestinian rally is in response to IU officials asking Hillel, the Jewish Culture Center on campus, to postpone an event citing security concerns. The event would feature Mossab Hassan Youssef, who claims to be the son of the founding member of Hamas. A book he published in 2010 says he left Hamas for Israel and converted to Christianity. Many, including IU student groups, have called his beliefs and social media posts Islamophobic. These groups, including MESA at IU and the Palestinian Solidarity Committee, called for the event to be canceled. No student organization is officially hosting the event, and PSC said it will be made up of, quote, concerned individuals. Hillel is hosting an alternate event in response to the postponement featuring Betsy Borns, a comic and writer from Hollywood. IU released a statement saying, quote, as outlined in the university's free speech policy, IU expects civility and respect between members of our campus community as well as those visiting. IU, as a public research university, must serve as a home for the free exchange of ideas while simultaneously ensuring the safety of all members of our campus community, end quote. The Palestinian Solidarity Committee gave us the following statement in response to the postponement, quote, the disparity in the treatment of Hillel and the Palestinian Solidarity Committee is stark and troubling. PSC has been subjected to heavy scrutiny as evidenced by the suspension of their faculty advisor over a minor mistake in a room reservation. In contrast, Hillel has blatantly violated rules such as falsely claiming sponsorship from the Office of the Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion on promotional materials, end quote. We reached out to both Hillel and the IU Office for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, but neither answered our call.
The Monroe County Coroner has identified the woman killed last month in a hit and run. We're told 48-year-old Narissa Bragleaf was unhoused at the time of her death. Police say she was killed while walking on State Road 37 back on February 20th. Officers arrested 38-year-old Dustin Eason later that morning. He faces charges of leaving the scene of a fatal accident.
Well, it's hard to miss them. Barriers are now in place along the 3rd Street bike lane, and more may be coming down the line soon.
If you've ever driven down 3rd Street along the south end of campus, you've surely seen the backups that can come from cars parked to drop off or pick people up.
That's right, but that now may be a thing of the past. The barriers were installed while IU students were off on spring break. The mix of curbs and delineator posts came from leftover materials the city had already purchased, meaning the only expense from the project came from labor costs for installation. Bloomington's Bike and Pedestrian Safety Coordinator says that this is only a rough draft, if you will, as future plans for the 3rd Street are likely in the next few years.
We hear your feedback, we hear your concerns, and this was a major part in how we got this done. The more that you can reach out to the city, to elected officials, it matters because we hear you.
Duncan anticipates more permanent infrastructure along 3rd Street in the next few years.
Pharmaceutical manufacturer Catalent has let go of more than 100 employees at the company's Bloomington plant. It comes barely a month after the company announced it was being bought out by a Danish investment group. More than 400 Catalent employees were let go in 2022. Production at the Bloomington plant has slowed dramatically as the demand for COVID-19 vaccine fell in the years since the pandemic.
A 16-year-old boy is in jail, charged as an adult after police say he shot a group of teens who were meeting up to fight. Police arrested Nicholas Bridgewater last week on felony charges of attempted murder, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and criminal recklessness. Court documents say police responded to a reported shooting on the early morning of March 15th. They found a 14-year-old with 2 gunshot wounds. An investigation claims that Bridgewater met with 3 other teens to settle an argument that started on social media. Bridgewater has a bail review hearing on Thursday.
A Brownsburg man will spend the next 25 years in prison after being convicted of attempted murder for a 2020 stabbing. A judge handed Keandre Owens a 30-year sentence, with 5 of those years to be served on probation. Owens was convicted last month for stabbing an 18-year-old woman on August 5th back in 2020. That woman was able to survive. Court documents say police were able to find Owens after he checked into the same hospital as the victim.
The 3-year manhunt is over for the 3rd suspect wanted for his role in a 2020 murder. Police arrested 28-year-old Malik Bennett earlier this month in Indianapolis. Bennett has been on the run since 2021 when police went to arrest him in January of that year. Court documents say Bennett is the 3rd man accused of gunning down 26-year-old Damon Brown. Police say Bennett and 2 other men, Jamal McFadden and Keshawn Bass, robbed and shot Brown dead over a drug deal. Both men have been convicted and sent to prison. Bennett is due back in court on May 16th.
Bloomington police officers could be patrolling the streets carrying tasers as soon as next month. We first told you about the approved pilot program back in September. Bloomington Mayor Carrie Thompson said the city recently received the first shipment of the less lethal weapons. Officers will begin training to carry the weapons full-time. Officers with other police departments in Monroe County already carry tasers.
IU Notify has had some recent changes to help keep students and faculty more informed. Starting tomorrow, the mass communication platform will begin sending text messages to all mobile devices that are registered through IU. Before, students and faculty had the option of receiving only email updates, but the new modification will make text messages the primary form of notification. These notifications are often used for weather and other emergencies. The new change will effectively allow students and faculty to be informed at a faster rate than before.
A $20 million gift was just handed out to the IU Melvin and Brent Simon Comprehensive Cancer Research Center, which they plan to use towards advancements in lung cancer research. Julie Wood, whose late husband Tom passed away from lung cancer, donated his money to honor her late husband. With this gift, IU researchers plan on discovering preventative methods to help protect people from lung cancer and detect it in its early stages. The Wood family has donated more than $28 million towards this investment, making them among the largest 4 donors at the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Research Center.
We allege that Apple has consolidated its monopoly power, not by making its own products better, but by making other products worse.
Still ahead on Hoosier News Source, Apple is hit with a major federal lawsuit. Why the Justice Department says the tech giant could be considered a monopoly. But first, the countdown continues to the total solar eclipse, less than 2 weeks away now. Do you have your glasses? Why you should be on alert for fake eclipse glasses. The excitement continues to build for the total solar eclipse coming in less than 2 weeks. But are you getting the right kind of glasses?
Our Shelby Brown talked with Dr. Hin Shung about how to protect your eyes when watching the eclipse.
The total solar eclipse is quickly approaching Bloomington, but it is crucial that everyone watching is wearing proper eyewear, such as eclipse glasses. These glasses, also known as solar viewers, were designed to protect our eyes when staring directly into the sun. Expert Hin Chung specializes in eye safety, and he said,
So to view the sun directly and safely, you have to use solar eclipse viewers. So for example, this is a solar viewer, so you would look through this filter there to look directly at the sun. And so this is going to filter out the harmful light from the sun, the UV radiation, the infrared radiation, so that it doesn't damage the back of your eyes.
While it is important to have proper eyewear when looking into the sun, it is also just as important to check and make sure the glasses you are using are not fake. Many companies are taking advantage of the eclipse by producing counterfeit glasses and selling them on platforms such as Amazon.
People are just printing the labels that say that they're safe for viewing eclipses, but actually it's not. So if you go on the American Astronomical Society website, AAS, they actually have a list of reputable vendors that they trust.
If you do not want to go out and get eclipse glasses of your own, many schools at IU are handing out free eclipse glasses such as the Media School, School of Optometry, and many more. The main reason why this eclipse is such a big deal is because this is a total solar eclipse, which means for around 4 minutes it will be completely safe to stare directly at the sun with no glasses on. But anywhere outside of these 4 minutes, it is critical to wear eclipse glasses or else there is a risk of damaging your eyesight permanently.
Did you have plans to watch the upcoming total solar eclipse from the top of a Bloomington parking garage? Well, you may want to think again. The city announced that the top floors of the city's 4 parking garages will be off limits for safety reasons. Concerns over exceeding the weight limit was a top concern. The city and county do have several designated sites throughout the area to watch the eclipse on the big day. You can find that as well as links to eclipse events, safety tips, and eclipse questions on our website. Just head to iustv.com/eclipse.
New research from the Kelley School of Business shows Indiana had a population increase of nearly 30,000 people last year. Using Census Bureau data, researchers found that the Hoosier state added 29,925 people, pushing the state's population to 6.86 million. The growth was due largely because of the high net-in migration, meaning more people are moving to Indiana than those moving out. One of the leading researchers said the growth came from the cities bordering the state.
I think particularly from the Chicago area, we've seen there's been a pretty strong net out migration of residents from the Chicago area, and I think Indiana is gaining from that.
The Indy metro area accounted for 60% of the state's growth. Bloomington saw a slight drop from last year.
Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb has vetoed a bill that would have banned and defined anti-Semitism in educational institutions. Holcomb said that he struck down the bill because it has confusing language. The bill was written by Republican State Representative Chris Jeter, who represents Fishers. An amended version of the bill passed in the Senate and was cleared by a bipartisan conference committee earlier this month. The bill contained portions of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism. Many Hoosier groups responded to the governor's veto. The Indianapolis Jewish Community Relations Council supported the governor's veto, saying in a statement, quote, JCRC will work diligently with members of the Indiana General Assembly, executive agencies, statewide educational institutions, and statewide educational organizations to ensure that the guidance of the Governor Holcomb's proclamation is correctly applied to identify and confront anti-Semitism and meet the needs of Jewish students in K-12 and higher educational settings, end quote. The Indiana Muslim Advocacy Network, however, voiced their disappointment in Holcomb's veto, saying, quote, as religious minorities, we understand the impact of hate and stand in unwavering solidarity with the Jewish community in combating anti-Semitism. We will persist in our endeavors to safeguard free expression in educational institutions across Indiana and ensure the protection of our Muslim students, end quote.
Have you ever noticed Indiana hasn't had happy hour specials? Well, you will now. Governor Holcomb signed House Bill 1086 into law, legalizing happy hour drink specials in Indiana. Effective July 1st, bars and restaurants can offer reduced price drinks for 4 hours a day and 15 hours a week, with restrictions excluding the hours between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. The bipartisan supported law aims to empower businesses' responsibility while overturning a 40-year ban.
Next on Hoosier News Source, measles cases in the U.S. continue to climb. We have an update on where the numbers stand.
And what can we expect with April just days away now? Quentin has a check of the forecast on the other side of the break.
The Department of Justice, joined by 15 states and the District of Columbia, sued Apple in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey for violating Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act.
Apple is hit with a major lawsuit by the feds over accusations the company unfairly has a monopoly over other phone manufacturers.
The suit claims Apple monopolized the smartphone market, harming some apps, streaming services, and competing products.
The long-anticipated lawsuit comes after years of allegations by critics. They claim Apple did so with restrictive App Store terms and high fees. They also claim Apple tightly controls how third-party tech companies interact with its products and services. This case is the Biden administration's latest effort to hold a big tech giant accountable under U.S. antitrust law.
Apple has maintained monopoly power in the smartphone market not simply by staying ahead of the competition on the merits, but by violating federal antitrust law. Consumers should not have to pay higher prices because companies break the law.
Apple is the last major tech giant to be sued by the federal government since the company was named in a sprawling 2020 House report. The report found Apple, Meta, Google, and Amazon hold monopoly power.
Measles cases in the U.S. continue to climb, now up to 64 according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Cases have now been reported in 17 states, from the west to the east coast. Last year, there were a total of 58 measles cases across the country. 2019 had the most cases since 1992, with 1,274 cases in 31 states.
Turning to weather now, we're closing out the month of March, and the weather isn't all too bad.
But will it stick around? Quentin Condra is in with the forecast. Hi, Quentin.
Hi, how y'all doing? Are y'all excited?
So excited. How are you?
It's freaking baseball season, so there's got to be a couple of good things going on this weekend if you're a real big baseball fan. As for today, around 12 o'clock, we got temperatures starting around 44. With around 4 o'clock, we'll see that sun stick around with temperatures reaching 49 degrees. Then around 8 o'clock, we'll see clear skies with temperatures around 45. As for tomorrow, we've got the IU baseball brawl with Butler at 8 p.m. At 6 o'clock, we got temperatures around 56 with that sun sticking around, but around 8 o'clock, when the game starts, temperatures will start decreasing with around 53. Then at 11, by the time the game should be over, 45 degrees. As for our pick of the week, this Saturday, we've got temperatures maxing out at 72 degrees. At 10 o'clock, we'll see that sun with a couple of clouds with temperatures around 60. Then around 2 o'clock, we'll see sunny skies continuing 70 degrees and maxing out at 6 o'clock. As for our 7-day outlook, we'll see that sun stick around for the beginning part of our week, with temperatures maxing out on Saturday around 72. And then on Sunday, we'll see those rain showers starting to turn towards the rest of the week with rain chances around 60% on Monday and 50% on Saturday, or on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday. Sorry, words are hard, you know?
All right, Quentin, thanks. Thank you so much.
Next in sports, Survive and Advance. The IU women's basketball team carries on in the NCAA tournament. Allie has the recap in sports after this.
It has been a jam-packed couple of days for Hoosier fans. Let's start with March Madness and the 4th-seeded women's basketball team. After taking down the 13th-seeded Fairfield Stags on Saturday at a nearly sold-out Assembly Hall, the Hoosiers faced off against the 5th-seeded Oklahoma in a second-round play on Monday night. After a back-and-forth game for much of the night, the Hoosiers advanced to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons by beating the Sooners 75-68. Mackenzie Holmes, in her final game at Assembly Hall, led IU with 29 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and had 4 blocked shots.
I didn't want to end this game with a loss. I couldn't let it happen again. I know how it felt last year. We all know how it felt last year, and I was going to do everything in my power to not let that happen again. And I just have a really great team full of people who believe in me, even when I don't believe in myself.
Indiana now moves on to play the undefeated #1 seed, South Carolina, on March 29th. This weekend was the start of a Big Ten play for the men's baseball team. After splitting the first 2 games with Illinois, the Hoosiers lost the 3rd game of the series on Sunday, the 15-8. The Hoosiers used 10 different pitchers on Sunday afternoon, including 4 in the first 3 frames of the ballgame. Illinois scored 4 runs in the first inning and 8 in the 3rd before the Hoosiers made a late run in the 8th inning, scoring 5 runs. But it was a little too late, and Illinois scored another home run during the top of the 9th, and the Hoosiers were unable to recover. The team is back at it on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for a doubleheader, where they will face off the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. That's all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Allie, thanks.
Quentin, can we get one last check of that 7-day forecast?
Again, for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll see that sun stick around with temperatures maybe maxing out on Thursday or Friday on about 65. Then Saturday and Sunday, we'll see those temperatures increase. But around Sunday evening, we'll see rain move in on Monday and Tuesday with 60% on Monday and 50% chance on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I hope spring is finally here.
It's coming.
I'm really ready.
The winds of change were blowing at the beginning of the week, so you know it's great to know.
Do you smell it? Do you smell it? Spring is in the air.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we smell it.
Well, thank you, Quentin.
Yeah, of course. Happy Easter.
And thank you for watching this week's Hoosier News Source.
For updates between newscasts, check out IUSTV.com, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Take care.